Hi, I'm Aluk Edwardson. I'm the cultural educator, artist, mother, and Arctic person who put this cultural learning resource together. If you'd like to learn more about who I am and the work that I do, please visit www.creativedecolonization.org. This cultural learning resource is going to dive into the work of William Qquilluq, who wrote the People of Kauwerak, Legends of the Northern Eskimo, with the assistance of Laurel Bland. William Qquilluq was told old stories from his grandfather, who he lived with as a young child. He was born in 1869 in Tikiyuk, or Point Hope, and moved back to Untitled when he was 7. Untitled was a village in the central island area of the Seward Peninsula and is where his parents and grandparents were from. William Qquilluq died in 1972. Northwestern Alaska was once a very warm country. Alaska was close to the sun. This continent had no winter, and it was warm always. The Kauwerak Eskimos' ancestors were very large people. They were also healthy and very strong human beings. They lived long and were happy. They did not wear clothes. They never worried because they had everything they wanted. They did not work in their minds because they did not have to worry or think about how to survive. There was a man called Iñupiat who lived in the ancient times before the first disaster. His name means burns like that which was burning and went out, a glowing coal. Iñupiat was taught by an old wise man called Iñupiat. He appeared as a prophet to Iñupiat. The first people, the Inuit ancestors, were very large in build and very strong in body. The women were built strong in body like men. Those people did not have to work in their minds to stay alive. That is, they did not have to think about how to make tools or use their resources around them to survive or to make themselves comfortable. They had no worries about living. Everything was upon the earth. The sun was warm year-round, and there was no winter time like now. The people lived off the country. Everywhere they went, they could find a place to stay. They used only rafts to go across the rivers and bays. In their time, they never thought about building houses, boats, or other useful things because they did not need them. That is why the old people say the Inuit ancestors did not use their minds like later times when they invented tools, clothes, houses, boats, and weapons. Before the first disaster, they did not need them. Many years later, they felt the ground shaking. They didn't know what it was. It was an earthquake, and the ground cracked and broke up in places. Until this happened, the people did not believe in spirits. They did not even know what a spirit was. When the earthquake happened, the people began to have some worries. Because of the mighty shaking, they began to think there might be some sort of living being or something that got mad or cursed the earth. They thought there might be someone who was punishing them, and there might be someone or something that might help them if they believed in it. From that time, they began to think of spirits to help them. After the great earthquake, the Inuit people began to look for others to find out what happened to them. They had a big gathering of people for the first time. The other people talked together and decided they should stay close together from now on. They decided to live in one place together and make a village. Those Inuit began to think about each other more than before. They began to talk about the resources around them and how they could have things on hand when they were needed. As time passed, nearly every year, great earthquakes were coming. That made the people change their way of living. They learned they had to help one another in order to survive. Their living changed from no worries about life to one of hardship. They began to make things out of what they found around them. There were tools for making baskets, bags of hide and bark, pouches of animal guts, pots of clay, and equipment for packing and carrying and storing things, and equipment and tools for catching animals. Animals were mostly caught in snares and traps. They thought about how to use rocks and stones, things like jade and slate and hard rocks that would break off with sharp edges when they were hit the right way. They thought about how to use the driftwood and growing live wood and bark and the sap and roots of the trees and plants. They thought about all the parts of the animals they could not eat and how those parts could be used. They experimented and soon made useful things, such as clothes, tools, bags, and pouches to store things, from skins, bones, teeth, sinew, guts, and even the blood of animals.